Islam's identity proceeds from idolatry, not from the true God. Muslims learn from their early age that Islam destroyed idolatry in Arabian Peninsula in order to introduce the one true God to people. But since they do not know who the true God is, they therefore unaware that the Prophet of Islam destroyed only the stone idols of the pagan tribes, thus creating a single imaginary idol that would bring all Arab tribes under the banner of this imaginary God, who is no different to pagan gods. I will use the verses of the Quran and let it speak for itself, providing as to why Islam is hidden in nature and cannot reflect the nature of the true God. The Quran, like the pagans, shows in addition to Allah, there are other deities too. The Quran in Surah Al-Ikhlas, verse 1, and Surah Al-Ankabut, verse 46, says that God is one. But in Surah Al-Mu'minun, at the end of the verse 14 also says, "Blessed be Allah, who is the best of creators." In the Arabian Peninsula, people believed in hundreds of gods who were represented by idols. One of these gods, Allah, was believed to be more important than other gods and was depicted with a large idol. The pagan Arabs used to say that Allah was the best of creators. The Prophet of Islam borrowed this verse from them, put it in the Quran, and taught his followers that there were many created deities, but Allah was the better one among all. Even years after establishing Islam, the Prophet of Islam with his followers prostrated in front of the idols of Lat, Manat, and Uzza. There are many hadiths that say that this act of the Prophet of Islam surprised, upset, and angered many pagan Meccans who said that the Prophet of Islam introduced himself as the messenger of their God, Allah, and further prostrated to their idols, but he still massacred the pagan followers of the same Allah. So you see that even Islamic hadiths show that the identity of the God of Islam arises from idolatry. Therefore, the religion of Islam cannot be from the true God. The Quran, like the pagans, describes Allah as being both just and unjust. Surah Al-Imran, verse 54, Surah An-Nisa, verse 142, Surah Al-An'am, verse 123, Surah Al-Araf, verses 99, 182, and 183, Surah Al-Infal, 30, Surah Yunus, verse 21, and Surah Al-Ghalam, verse 45, all say that Allah is the most cunning of all, and no one is safe from his cunning ways and deceitfulness. All these verses prove that there is a very close connection between Islam and idolaters. The identity of the God of Islam is the identity of idolatry. Islam cannot be from the true God. Also, like the pagans, the Quran describes Satan as having both good and bad deeds. In Surah Al-Araf, verse 27, Surah Al-Mu'minun, verse 97, and Surah Al-Mujadila, verse 10, it says that Satan and jinns are deceivers, annoyers, and the cause of any kind of temptation. But in Surah Al-Jinn, from verses 1 to 13, the Quran says that they are the heralds of Islam. No group other than the pagan has said that the evil ones are good heralds. You see how Islam manifests the color and smell of idolatry. Another characteristic of the pagan god is that he has no restriction on the carnal desires of his messengers. This is the reason for the religious brothels in some pagan temples. Allah does the same for his prophet. One example is in Surah Al-Ahzab, verse 37, when he says to his prophet, as long as your eyes are on the wife of your adopted son, then do not hide your desire for her from others, but reveal it so that I take her from your adopted son and marry her to you. The Prophet of Islam then announces his desire to his adopted son, Zayd, who now has no choice but to divorce his wife Zainab, so as Muhammad can have her. You see that the most pious person in Islam, like a pagan pious person, has the right to take your wife from you for himself. It seems that Islam is the most perfect religion in satisfying the carnal desire of its so-called pious leaders. Islam has taken its months of Ramadan, Hajj pilgrimage, and walking 7 times around the Kaaba, all from the pagans. The black stone in Mecca is from pagans. The prayers to Allah only in Arabic is from the pagans. Short-term wives in Islam is from the pagans. The way the Prophet of Islam was performing prophecy is also from the pagans. It was pagans who believed that Allah hid himself behind the curtain. The Quran says the same thing in Surah Shura, verse 51. There are many other rituals also that were borrowed from the idolaters. The identity of Islam is idolatry, not of the true God. Thank you so much for spending sometimes with me. I appreciate that. God bless you all.